Okay, you guys, let's do this. It's going to be so professional. Like, so professional. Here we go. Welcome to the Life Support Podcast with your hosts, Michele VanDusen and June Colson, a couple of clean comedians who support each other and others through comedy's wacky and winding roads. I hope you're ready. Get set. Let's go. Since podcasts have a catchy tune, we wrote this song for Michele and June. Clean comedians are best friends too. Oh, it's so good. And you never know what they'll say or do. Here we go, sing with me on Life Support, with Michele, who's really short. We'll have a ball, with June, who's really tall. They have fun, interviewing comedians on Life Support, with Michele, who's really short. Now it's time to start Life Support.
The Life Support Podcast is brought to you by the Hot Breath Comedy Network.
Wow, here's all a round of applause. Woo! That was magic. Welcome to the award-winning Life Support Podcast. I'm your host, June Colson, aka Junebug, here with Michele with one L, Trisha's sister. Who else?
Morgan's little sis.
Morgan's sister. Rhonda Colson Corey's friend. Don't call me Shelly. Michele with one L. Michele VanDusen. Michele, there's a new opening. There's a new video. Before, I haven't seen that. First of all, like, it goes so fast. I'm like, there's so many pictures. Mm-hmm. But how cool is that? Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you did that. I was just sitting and watching and trying to capture all the different images that were on there. The Rhonda Corey wig. There's a picture. One of the pictures is me wearing a long black wig, like our friend Rhonda Corey. Well, look, we're already starting season 5 with the Rhonda Corey moment. But that just cracks me up, like seeing the different faces and the people who've been on the podcast. And we are back. We are back with season number. High five, Michele. Give me 5. High five, season 5. We're doing it. We're doing it.
Yeah, we are.
How are you?
I'm good. Now, I back to the new video. Did you catch this?
What was that?
That's my sister, Trisha.
Okay, so Michele just popped up like a black and white baby picture and a blue heart frame. I did see HotDog. I saw some weird pictures of my face. There's HotDog. Listen. And I saw that one too. There's me with my eyes crossed. If you're listening to Life Support, know that you can watch us on YouTube and you can see the weird pictures of me that Michele chose. When you have the control, there's nothing I can do about it, is there?
Listen, this one, that's a nice picture.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Thanks so much. Yeah. Oh gosh, Scott, I want to make sure that I say his, I want to give his social media. It's MSE Photo. Michael Scott, I believe, but he goes by Scott. But MSE Photo, he was at a Kentucky Comedy Festival and did like behind the scenes pictures and took a lot of pictures of me like behind the curtain, on the stage. It was really cool. But our friend Lee Harden, when Scott was showing me his Instagram, sorry, I'm struggling with words. The T hasn't popped in yet. When he was showing me his pictures, I saw, there it is. Thank you so much. I'm going to get that cross-eyed picture all season long, aren't I? When he was showing me his pictures on his Instagram, I saw a few pictures of Lee Harden and I was, oh wait, you're the guy who does his headshots. Love Lee's headshots. This guy is really good about just capturing personality in people. And I don't like having my picture made. I've never really, I mean, it's part of what we do, but I never really look at it and go, oh, I love that picture or this picture, whatever. But he's probably one of the first people who just shot some pictures of me and captured what I felt like was a lot of my personality. He did such a good job. So that was awesome to get to meet him and to get to do the Kentucky Comedy Festival and then leave there, not just with, the experience, but with pictures as well. So that's cool. So I'm glad that you added that in there because those are fun. Those are super fun. And I know you've had that before at a comedy festival where you left with headshots. What festival was that?
That was the Plano Comedy Festival. In fact, that'll be coming up again in October. It's if you are, oh, I think actually the submission time frame has closed.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that is the most fun festival. I mean,
You should have reminded me of it, and then I could have gone, and you would have been right down the road, and we could have hung out together. But it's too late, Michelle. It's
yeah,
too late.
or still check. I mean, maybe it's a late fee. I don't know, but you should check. I mean,
Yeah.
you've been doing comedy festivals like all summer long. I mean, my lands, you've been everywhere this summer. So I think that's fabulous.
I have definitely been on the run. I think that I may all summer long, collectively, if you put the days together, I may have been home 3 weeks. Maybe I may have been home 20 days of between May and August, probably about 20 days. I've spent a lot of money on dog sitters. Some turned out really good, some not so much. It's never good when you come home from the road and you have to take your rug from the living room and drag it into the driveway and pressure wash it. Yeah, that was not, and I don't blame the dog sitter. I
was gonna say, so what did the dog do then?
Yeah.
If that was the dog sitter, what'd the dog do?
Yes, yeah, the dog sitter. That's disgusting, Michelle. Ew.
The first moment of the season. You're welcome.
Yes, it's the first Michelle. Ooh, for our listeners, I apologize for that image Michelle just painted in your head. And so right now, I'm going to encourage you to think of butterflies and rainbows and puppies and kittens. Maybe not puppies, because then that takes you right back to where we just came from. So, but
Okay.
yes, I've been on the run.
Yeah, you've been on the run. Anyway, so we're just saying, hey, welcome back. This is season 5, which I'm really excited about. Welcome to season 5. I have an update on some of our listeners.
Oh, sweet.
So, because we've picked up some listeners in China, which is really cool. But in America, remember our goal 2 seasons ago was to have a listener from every state.
Yes.
Drum roll, please. Hasn't happened.
Oh, Michelle, really? Boo.
No, what we have
is
is
season 5 is going to be like. You're just going to mess with me. You're going to post cross-eyed pictures of me and get my hopes up and just crush my soul every episode. Is that because I feel like people would tune in for that? I do.
Yeah.
Be good for ratings.
Well, so we still need to have a few listeners from Vermont. That's absent. I don't know why. I went up there, visited. I bought some of the syrup. How come no one's listening? I don't know. And then West Virginia still. I mean, what's the deal with West Virginia?
Huh.
Yeah, right. And then Alaska. So
I don't get Alaska. I don't get why we don't have anybody listening in Alaska.
We have 32 downloads from Hawaii. Zippo from Alaska.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And let's see, Texas has the most downloads, and then Rhode Island. Oh, no, that's not true. Virginia.
Virginia has most downloads?
No, Texas, Virginia, Kentucky, Rhode Island. Yeah.
Nice.
Yep,
okay.
That's
what's it looking like? Because you said we picked up like China, maybe, or
yeah. So we have China. They're recent. They're new listeners. Like we didn't produce anything over the summer, and they started listening to us. They picked us up. Yeah, which is really cool. So like Shanghai and another city, I can't remember what it was. And then so we've got listeners all over the place. We have over 4,000 downloads now, and we have over 2,000 listeners worldwide. So a little shout out. Thank you for listening. All right.
Yeah, that's so awesome. No, and we are hoping to add some new listeners in season 5, and we are grateful to all the people that have listened to us over the last 4 seasons. It's been man, again, the opening, I'm glad you added the pictures. It just reminds me of all the amazing people, seeing Ken Davis's face pop up there, just and early on our friend Christian McCartney, like just seeing different people's faces pop up and going, wow, we really got to have some great conversations in the last 4 seasons, and I know this season's going to be awesome too.
Yeah, and I figured it was finally time for us to pop in there, my sister and your dad, because we talk about them, mention them all the time. So, so there you go.
So this season, our goal is to get Trisha on the show and to get HotDog on the show. It is. I will say that it's. We can only do that with HotDog because this does not broadcast live, and we have editing capabilities, and we will have time to, because HotDog. Listen, okay. So this weekend, this Saturday, my son, since we've been out, my son proposed to his girlfriend, and I think that was before our last episode. Maybe I talked about the proposal, but they had an engagement party this weekend, and HotDog was at his hot doggiest. I will tell you this much. I went and got him some new clothes to wear because it was at a country club rooftop bar, that had yes.
Now that, remember when you sent me a message, like you sent me a text, like, yeah, I'm getting HotDog. What do you call it? Some kind of clothes. It was engagement clothes.
Fancy pants, maybe. I was buying him some fancy pants.
And I asked you, who's getting engaged? HotDog?
Yes. Yeah. Wouldn't that be exciting? That would be, listen, at that point, I'm having a reality TV show. If HotDog starts dating and gets engaged, the world can't handle that. The world is not ready for that. But yeah, I bought him some clothes, and he always wears suspenders, so I got him some fancy suspenders that have like the leather on the ends of it, and the suspenders matched the color of the pants that he was wearing. And I say fancy pants, we weren't wearing tuxedos. Fancy pants for my family. And I quote my youngest son, when did blue jeans stop being dressy?
That is a good question.
So yes, so no blue jeans is basically it. It was at a golf country club place. So basically you could wear golf clothes, you could wear shorts. That's not having to dress up fancy. You could wear like you just came off the golf course. And it was just basically no blue jeans. That's it. Mm-hmm. And so, and HotDog's always like to dress nice. He's just kind of at that age in life that there's no place he's dressing up for. So I got him some pants. He came over, did a little fashion show at the house. And he came in and had a fresh haircut.
Whoa.
I know. And he just strutted in like he was somebody. He had on his new khaki pants and his new khaki little suspenders, and he had a plaid shirt with a polo horse on it. He was looking fly. And everybody's going to worry about like HotDog's going to say something to embarrass people. And he did. He 100% did. He walked straight over to the table where my son was at with like a bunch of his fraternity brothers, and he snuck up, and Ty turns around and he's like, "Whoa, HotDog, look at you looking good." And he was like, "Yeah." And I said, "Oh, and he even got a haircut for you, Ty," not knowing that was going to lead us into this. And he's like, "Oh, HotDog, yeah, your haircut looks good." And he goes, Yeah, my buddy, he used to sell drugs and did some prison time. And while he was in prison, he cut people's hair. So he got really good at it. Now that he's out and on parole, I get my haircuts for free.
See, the next line should have been, "I still got to pay for my drugs, though." Like that would have been
right. But he still has to pay for the drugs. So, but he had a good time. Ty, my son's friends, they cut up with him, and he doesn't have a lot of events that he's going out and just hanging out and in the social environment. So my sister brought him there. And her husband, it was actually their wedding anniversary, Bobby, Joe, and Gibby, 33 years. Congratulations. Woo-hoo. And so they got him there so that I could get there early. And then I took him home, and we just had a great night. It was a really good night, to watch HotDog mingle, to talk to all the pretty girls. And
because we talk about HotDog so much, well, because you do, I got an item to leave on my desk for this season.
Yes.
It's a little HotDog.
I heard it got in a wreck.
It did. It crashed, but I still have one, so it's going to be on my desk. So when we go to these kind of screens, boom, there it is, near the goat.
Wow, we got the goat. We got and you got me. You actually got me 2 different HotDog keychains, didn't you?
Was it 2?
I think yes. You got me one that was a Legos keychain. But I didn't take it out because I didn't want to lose it or it like break off. I carried the llama on my backpack. You got me a llama. And yeah. So you gave that to me for my birthday. We got to see each other over the summer. So let's talk about that a little bit. So let's talk about your journey. We went to CCA, which is the Christian Comedy Association. Michele did a fabulous job once again of wrangling all the volunteers and just making sure that behind the scenes everything was running smoothly. The tables were set up, the t-shirts were ready, everybody's name tags, getting people checked in. You were so mindful of just the needs of the new people coming in. We had a great room for the new people to go in. Bob Smiley and his wife were there to greet everybody, and Richard
and the Brights.
Yes, and they always do a phenomenal job. So just kudos to you for what an excellent job you do. People don't realize how much is moving behind the scenes as they're setting in and getting to listen to speakers and sing and praise and worship. Jawan DeVivo came. He's from the Casting Crowns.
He's so good.
One of the most famous, Christian music out there, right? Like phenomenal. And when I tell you, I feel like he was very comfortable when he was there, that people didn't go crazy like fanboy and fangirl on him. Just let him come. He's a huge comedy fan. He dabbles in stand-up comedy, just kind of a side thing when he's not on tour, and just something to challenge himself and kind of just a fun thing to do. And so he was excited to be surrounded by a bunch of Christian comedians because that's something he's so interested in. And like, there was no loftiness about his personality at all. He literally just came to serve the people in our community. And I think people were really blessed by his presence. So that was awesome. Which
is really nice about the CCA's heart, and how you and Brian and, how you guys did all the announcing and all that kind of stuff. Like you bring people in and it's a heart matter first, and then it's connection. So it was appropriate that was one of, that was the worship, was led by him, because his heart and our heart, it just all meshed up really, really nice. I was a little bummed this year, because I love being up, doing the intake, helping with the badges and things like that. But this year I had to take that hat off, hand it off to my volunteers, and I had to put on, a janitor hat, because before anything really started,
Michele, it's not necessary to tell the story.
I had a toilet overflow. I had to clean the toilets. What I'm saying is I had to mop the floor in the bathroom. What I'm saying is we use volunteers for everywhere there. And
Michele, why did the toilet overflow?
Somebody flushed it.
Somebody flushed a toilet and made it overflow. Somebody being me, go ahead and say it. Okay, first of all, I hadn't used that toilet. I came in and I saw that there was toilet paper in the toilet. And so I flushed the toilet, and that toilet paper was in there because apparently there was a whole bunch of other toilet paper that was already in there. And I was going in to change my clothes and get cleaned up to get ready to start. And I'm like putting on my fancy shoes, and I flood the whole bathroom. Like the whole bathroom flooded with one toilet. And now I'm trying to find the mop. And yes, you came in and you rescued.
What I'm saying is, I think I missed the first 4 sessions of the day because I was still mopping
the toilet. I came in, and like I'm changing clothes and I'm looking and I'm making sure the bathroom's clean. We're all just like doing whatever. And I look and I'm like, oh, somebody didn't flush the toilet, and I flushed it. And the whole thing was I needed to pee. And I never did get to go pee because now the whole bathroom's flooded. Now I got to go out there and host, and I wanted my first announcement to be, okay, which one of you shoved all the toilet paper? But also we have to, I don't think it was an adult. Like the building is shared with a school. And I think that's probably a kiddo had done that, and it is what it is. But yeah, I was like, wow, we're really off to a flowing start here. It's real good flow.
What I'm saying is, we do everything, and it doesn't matter, position or things like that.
Yeah.
Everybody, just starts helping.
Yeah.
So like it's wonderful. It was one of the best years, I think, of how things flowed. and and just, everything I thought it went really well. I thought it
Yeah.
went really, really well.
And you had Carrie and Dory at the table. Both of them have been on our podcast before. Dory McLemore's been on twice. But both of them are such friendly and kind faces. They were great to be sitting there and just greeting people as they came in the door. I think that was really good too. And Carrie is she's definitely a connector. She's somebody, Jones is her last name, Carrie Jones. And she's definitely somebody who just makes people feel comfortable and seen. And so I think it worked out. And it also freed you up once you were done with the flood. That freed you up to have eyes on everything going on. And you did such a good job at that. So you drove, but before you came to CCA, you drove from your house and you stopped at your dad's, right? You got to spend some time there with him.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. I always stop off at my dad's, which it's not really a stop off. It's, but it's fine. Yeah. It's on the way. Yeah. So I spend time with my dad, before and after the CCA. It's a nice way to bookend that trip. And it's always good to see family. And that's pretty much what I did. Like that was my last, stage comedy performance kind of a thing for the summer, because I wanted to take a break. I wanted to make sure that I actually took a break from performing and focus my attention on a couple other things here at the house and that kind of stuff. So it was probably one of the best summers ever.
Yeah.
I didn't have to rush around. I didn't have to go driving everywhere. I didn't have to go, like it was nice to be here and spend time with my grandbaby and my children. And it's been a wonderful, wonderful summer break.
Yeah.
So, but you went everywhere. You went everywhere. And I love the fact that you were in my town and you came to visit. Now, why were you out here traveling?
Sorry, I feel like my volume has been up really loud, so hopefully that doesn't mess up our recording. That was just me wanting to lean in and really
lean in, baby.
So I really want to talk to you about this, Michele. So what was the question?
Wait, lean back in so I can screenshot that. I'm not actually doing it.
You can see my wrinkles really good if I get that close.
Tell me about your trip, your Route 66 trip.
Oh yeah. I think we need to do an episode where we just kind of talk about that. So that we can have our pictures that we were together. But yeah, so over the summer, I did get to do several shows, which was awesome. And a lot of the shows were fundraiser type shows here in Bowling Green. I got to do Humor for Hope with Haas Ridgeway and Christy Conder came down from Nashville. And it was a great event. It was a fundraiser trip for a mission trip. My friend Deanna Hale that Haas and I actually went to high school with, her and her husband Jason invited us to come and do this event to help raise Guatemala. They were going to Guatemala. And I don't know why, but in my brain I wanted to say Guatemala. I was just putting words together.
You should run to be a politician, because
I should. And going to Guatemala. But anyway, so I got to do a fundraiser there, got to do two fundraisers with Chris Roop in North Carolina and South Carolina. And that was for adoption, raising money for adoption. And when I was coming to see you, so Jason and I took the Corvette and we went on Route 66. We decided that was going to be one of our vacation, summer trips. And we were looking at a couple different places, like where to drive to. And then I said, well, where does Route 66 go? And we started looking at the route, and it went to Tulsa. And I was like, okay, well, I think we pretty much decided where we're going. So that was really cool. We started in Illinois and kind of went off the path a little bit. I'd done a show with Lee Hardin a few years ago, another fundraiser show. I've raised a lot of money in comedy. I don't think I've made a lot, but I've definitely raised a lot of money. But I was doing a fundraiser show with him, and there was a little town that I saw on the way through, on our way back from that fundraiser show in Illinois. And I was like, oh, I want to come back to this place. So we actually started there, and I can't even think of the name of it right now. But we started there and just made our way to Tulsa, and then we turned around to Tulsa and came back. So about halfway there was Branson, Missouri. And so I got to see Joey ILO. He's been on our podcast before. He is wide open, man. That guy is so funny, so full of energy. And he has what's called the Redneck Comedy Bus, I believe is what it's called. I have a t-shirt in my closet. I rode the Redneck Comedy Bus, watch what he does there. And basically tourists hop on this Redneck Comedy Bus and they drive them through Branson and do like you would any other tour, except for he's doing stand-up comedy like the whole time. I mean, it's over an hour that he's up there, and there's jokes about different locations that we're passing. Like it's on the whole time. And I mean, you think about doing an hour of stand-up comedy, you know, it takes a while for people to develop that. He has a little bit of his regular stand-up weaved in there, but also a good half an hour of that is 100% material that he's written just on that bus, you know, just with redneck punchlines. And, you know, it was really good. It was just really cool to see him do that and watch people just having a great time that morning. We did the morning ride with him. And then that night he works at a resort and does comedy shows for the people that are staying at the resort. So that night I came back and did like 15 or 20 minutes at the resort. And man, you talk about cool. There was a family there, Michele, that has like every time they come and stay, like every summer they come and stay, they always go to Joey's show.
Wow.
And he has like watched their kids grow up. There was a little one that I think the first year or something like had a medical emergency. It was either choked on something or had a seizure or something like that. And so like he talks about that in the bit, and the little girl just waits for him to talk about like, you know, when he first met the family. And so that was really neat. It was neat. And there were people come in and they're like, oh, I've watched your dry bar. And they were so excited to get to see him in person in this intimate setting. So we did that, and then hit the road to come hang out with you. And so, yeah, that was really awesome. You and Ross were such good hosts, came and picked us up and showed us around. Crazy moment happened. My sister had a pet that had an emergency, text me and was like, hey, will you pray for me? And in that very second, what campus were we on? I was literally under like 200-foot praying hand statue on what was the campus?
That's Oral Roberts University, ORU. Yeah.
On ORU campus. And someone texted me and said, will you pray for me? And I'm looking up at like 200-foot tall statue of hands that are praying above me. And I'm like, well, it's probably a good place to say a prayer. And just for the record, things worked out. That pet, her kitten had gotten attacked by a dog, and they thought it was going to die. And the vet was like, I don't know. And it's okay. It's doing fine now. So I don't know. I think next time I really, really want to pray about something, I may just drive to Tulsa and park underneath those praying hands. You think?
Yeah, that would work, but no.
Not necessary. They can hear me from Kentucky, I think.
Yeah. And what's kind of cool is like right after you left, then Tulsa actually became the official capital of the Mother Road, which is Route 66.
They were just waiting for me. They're like, when June takes her little red Corvette, his name is Prince, by the way. And Prince was tired after that trip. There was a lot of stops. One of my favorite moments on that trip was this random roadside, almost like museum. This guy, it was like if HotDog had money, that would have been HotDog's house. This guy had all of these just creations he had made, welded together, things that he had bought, cars that he had, created, and it was really neat. And it was set up where you could just kind of walk through and look at it. He was in the backyard with with like a saw and a blowtorch, and he was building some piece of art, as we walked through. But these little girls rolled up on bicycles, and this was in the middle of nowhere, tiny little town. And that's what Route 66 is like. It's like just things just pop up, and you're like, oh my gosh, I have to stop and look at this and this. And so as I'm looking at this, the coolest place I've ever seen, I hear gravel crunching, and I look to my left, and there's two little girls on bicycles, and one of them has her arm like you got somebody in a headlock, but it was a headlock full of styrofoam cups. And they were taller than she was, and she was pedaling with one hand. She hits her brakes, and she goes, "Hey lady, you should come down and buy some lemonade from a lemonade stand." And I was like, "Oh, where's it at?" And she goes, "Right down there." And there were like little flags sticking up at the end of this gravel lot, and all grown up around it were like trees and stuff. And you could see that it used to be a gas station. And this was an old abandoned gas station. And these four little girls had a lemonade stand underneath the canopy of that gas station. And so, of course, we had to stop. So we pulled up, and they came to my car window and just kind of latched onto the car. And I found out their names, and their mom was going to have a baby, and they were raising money because they wanted to take her out to dinner.
Wow.
And yeah, it was so sweet.
That's
so
neat.
Anyway, it's such a sweet experience. There was like a state trooper that was there, and he was buying lemonade, and somebody else had pulled up, and
did you tip them?
I will say that my husband tipped them very well. I will say when we pulled out, they were screaming. They were screaming. So I'm like, drive faster. Someone will think we like kidnapped one of them. They won't know you did something kind. Now we're gonna be like, that state trooper's coming back to get us. So no, it was good. He did a really sweet thing.
So instead of going to McDonald's that night, they now get to go to Taco Bell. Is that
potentially? Yeah. Yeah.
Good.
He bumped him up to Taco Bell money. So it was good. But like, I'm telling you, their little faces and their little lemonade stand. And it was just so unexpected. And then my next step was to get to see you. You guys took us on a tour of just different areas in Tulsa, the ORU campus. The next day, Jason and I went hiking, went to the park that's in the middle of Tulsa that you have to take your grandbaby to.
Yes, the gathering place.
The gathering place, y'all. If you are ever in Tulsa, Oklahoma, you better go. One, free parking, totally free parking. It's acres and acres and acres of just not just like parks for the kids to play in, but they're made in an artistic way. Like it's beautiful. And then there's like ponds, like koi ponds, and there's trails. And we spent about 2.5 hours there. There's concessions. They're selling, Gatorades and stuff like that there. Yeah. We spent about 2 hours there. And then Ross mentioned, Jason and I like to hike, and he mentioned Turkey Mountain and was like, it's shaded. A lot of people go up there. Yeah. So in true Jason fashion, he picked out a hike that's like 45 minutes long. And
which is not bad. That's not a bad hike.
Well, it wasn't, but that 45 minutes turned into an hour and a half because he has such good sense of direction when we're driving, but when we're hiking, this is not the first time that a 45-minute hike has turned into almost a 2-hour hike.
Ross did the same thing when we went there.
Yeah.
So I thought it was hilarious that he suggested that you guys should go to Turkey Mountain.
Yeah, where he got lost. Like, thank you, Ross.
I think that's where Ross tried to kill me, because I think, because the whole idea was he took me up on this mountain, and he's like, we'll just go this way now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So instead of, staying to the right and doing the other, he took a left, and now it's mid-sun, and I shouldn't be out in the sun. And now we're just walking. I am like, we did not bring enough water. I finished my water off. I finished Ross's water. I finished my son's water and made him go run ahead to go see if he could find more water. I
think this was July, right? So yeah, it's Tulsa in July, and we're on Turkey Mountain, and we don't know where we're going at a certain point. So yeah, it was supposed to be 45 minutes. It ended up being an hour and a half. But we had just enough time to get back to the hotel, take a shower, and then we went to Pops. Where is Pops? We drove like an hour to get there, right?
A little bit longer than an hour. Yeah. It's in Arcadia. So it's just north of Oklahoma City. And so we went down there, and we weren't early enough to stop at the Red Barn, which is also down there. And they're also considered, on Route 66, but we didn't go that way. We took the highway and then veered off to go there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pops is amazing. I like Pops, so tell them a little bit about what happens there.
So Pops is like a soda pop place. It literally has a giant like LED lit up massive soda pop bottle in front of this gas station. And they have a little diner in it, and it's just walls and walls of different flavors of soda pop. Honestly, last night we drank the orange cream soda that we bought from there. It's been in the refrigerator since then.
Wow.
I don't drink a lot of soda pop. The sugar is just too much for me in it.
Yeah.
I usually drink a Diet Dr. Pepper if I ever drink, but it's like a dessert. Like if I'm having a soda pop, it's like a dessert. So last night we split the orange cream soda because we had a healthy meal. We had like grilled chicken and salad. So we topped it off with the orange cream soda from Pops, which was really fun. I may have tried to terrorize a couple kids who were trying to be cute and thought they were funny and were mocking us behind our back. So I ducked behind some shelving and popped out at them, and they were like, "Oh crap, she's coming back at us." You bought, didn't you buy, what kind of candy did you buy?
Well, I bought some,
That's what it was. Yeah. What is that, Michelle?
This is teriyaki jerky chew.
Yes.
So instead of having, it's meat, but it's shredded beef.
Instead of chewing tobacco, you got shredded meat, a can of shredded meat that looks like chewing tobacco, which is fine because I have boxes of candy cigarettes in the other room. So
yeah, and then of course, Lucky Strikes.
Yes.
Or Lucky Lights. Sorry.
Yeah, but I think yours are the good kind of candy cigarettes because yours look like, do they have the red tip on them and paper? Like, do they have the powder in them that make them look like you smoke? Yes. Okay. So the one, it looks like a cigarette.
Yeah, but it's bubble gum.
But the one that I ordered off of Amazon, it's just a powdered candy stick. It was disappointing. I want your candy cigarettes, Michelle. Those are so good. And you look like you never smoked in your life. And you look like you know what you're doing when you're smoking. You look way too much like you know what you're doing.
I was raised by a smoker.
Yeah.
And I did try it.
Yeah.
Nearly killed my lungs. I was like, I couldn't handle it. So I have smoked a little bit in my life. Not much, not enough to cause any lung disease. But now the secondhand smoke, maybe I do have
our generation. Disease. Did both your parents smoke?
No, just my mom. And we're talking like even in the middle of winter, in the station wagon and the windows are all the way up and it's just smoke everywhere. Yeah.
That was HotDog at this party this weekend. He was all fancy and then he had a big box of Marlboro Reds sticking out of his pocket. And he was really happy because it was an outdoor event, so he could walk down the steps and sneak a cigarette in without, because at his age, it's like, can I smoke a cigarette? Can I wear a hat? Can I, So he survived a fancy engagement party with his big Marlboro cigarettes in tow. I think that's just part of what kids have to learn is like, your family is your family. And, and we're all embarrassed of our parents at some point. And, you go through the awkward phase, but then you come to a point where it's like the things
and you're the embarrassing parent.
Yeah. Well, the things that are different is what's endearing. I think what makes you laugh later, it's going to be the memories that they have of like, he's going to remember like HotDog showing up and saying something goofy in front of his friends. And that'll be a funny story in the future, but maybe a little traumatizing at the moment. I don't know. I felt like he was at his hot doggiest. He was feeling good. He was feeling good about himself.
He got fancy pants on, so of course.
Yeah, what are you gonna do with a hot dog and fancy pants? We're just lucky that they weren't dancing because he would have danced in his fancy pants. You wait till the wedding. You wait till the wedding.
That will be the best video ever.
Yes.
I mean, you got a hot dog and fancy pants. Fancy pants.
When I tell you though, straight up, he walked in and he had his thumbs under his suspenders, and like because my sister arrived with him, and he came walking over to my table, and he was like, and he looked so ornery. He was like, "I'm here to cause some trouble. Yes, I'm here to do something bad." Like he should have his own theme song when Hot Dog walks in. There he is, Hot Dog, the man, the myth, the legend. He is, and my youngest son Trey, his girlfriend. She has such a funny and like dry sense of humor, and she just soaks everything in. And she was just watching him. She was full on entertained by Papa Hot Dog. So we survived it. We survived it. All right. So I know that over the summer, Michele, we'll talk about this, and we'll wrap up this welcome back episode because we got so many more. We'll have another episode, just you and I. And then we'll start bringing in some guests coming up soon. So over the summer, I know you said you took a break. But also you were doing a lot of things, even in the downtime, you were still doing some classes. You were working on organizing your book. So it wasn't, an unproductive summer, but it was a restful summer. And I do get that. Having that's just not having to think about the next show or worry about your next set or anything like that. Just no logistics to deal with. You can just step away and breathe for a little bit. So tell us a little bit about like what you were doing as far as the book goes and your classes.
Well, so I'm taking some business classes to help me organize and plan when I finish the book for marketing and launching and website and all that kind of stuff mixed in and around. And at the same time, then it's also like, you can do it. It's all these, inspirational, say inspirational, but it's practical wisdom, practical application. And it's a lot, and it's eating my lunch. Okay. It has been very tough. And so like, just because a lot of technical things, like I get some of it and I pick up on a lot of things pretty quickly, but then there's others that I'm just like, I'm not getting this. So like even our intro video, I was at my wit's end. I'm like, this isn't working. And my son happened to stop over and I was like, can you? He's like, I'm like,
yes. Yeah.
How did you do that? Go back and teach me that. So then he would show me this and I'm like, oh, wait, let me write this down. It's like, Mom, come on. I'm like, no, really. And then I got to a point, I'm like, okay, I added Trisha in because I thought it'd be hilarious if I added my sister in there. So how do I fix it now? How do I save it? And so I called him. I called him and he's like, do I need to come over? I'm like, no, just talk me through it. So like, it's been good. And so it's been good, having extra hands like that or knowing that I have help a phone call away. And so with the business classes and stuff, they have people like at any time that you have a question, you can just pop into chat and say, hey, how do I do such and such? And they're like, all right. And then they walk you through it, or they'll send you to a tutorial because enough people have asked, how do I do this?
Right,
so you can get the video tutorial. So it's wonderful and it's very helpful and good. I'm getting closer to finishing my book, which is really exciting. I've spoken with a couple different publishers, which that was daunting and exciting and, kind of a kick in the pants, like hurry up and finish this kind of a deal. Right. So like, that's a whole nother thing. And I have a couple of people like, hurry up. I want to sell this. So like I already have buyers. So I've got to finish. I can't just not finish, which is good. So I'm really excited about it. It's like I have like a new life kind of thing. And what's been wonderful about taking a break from the stage, part of it, you know how you can get just like burnout on stuff. Like that's kind of how I was feeling. Like I wasn't having fun performing. And if you don't have fun performing, then your audience is going to have fun watching. So why are you doing it? So I took a break, I'm like, okay, and I took 2 weeks. I'm like, okay, what should I be working on? And I was like, oh yeah, I should work on this book. It's brought back creativity not having to worry about the next show, the next set, the next, it's able to bring back creativity. So I'm writing jokes, again. And it's nice to have those sparks of hilarity. You're like, yes, because like I have tons of jokes, but like some of them just they're not complete. Like there's something missing there. There's something, and then to have a break, just even like if you go to that, some people like going to the woods, some people like going to the beach, some people like taking walks around their neighborhood. I like to sit on my back porch with a cup of coffee and just kind of breathe and just listen to the birds. And because where we have very mature trees here, and so sitting in my backyard is even though we're close to the city, it's not, it's still like a country feel almost. Yeah. So it's nice. And so just be able to sit there and go, oh, that's the punchline I need. It's just been so nice not to have that pressure. Plus I've spent so much time with my grandchild, and she's a hoot and a half, and my house is now decorated for all of her things. And I've talked so much now. I forgot what your question was.
No, it was. I mean, you're just kind of filling it in. I said you've taken a little bit of break from the stage. You've been working on the book. You've been working on some classes. So you've definitely done that, and I think that's okay. I think you're right. Like you can get a second wind and get excited about what you're doing again, and we can get burnout. I do that to myself. I definitely do that to myself. I put so much pressure on myself. I get overwhelmed. Truly with ADHD. So many moving parts. I freeze. I get locked up and I freeze, and it's tough. It's a tough industry. I think about it. When you think about people in the entertainment industry, it's dog eat dog out there, and it is a tough industry. And I think a lot of people can think, oh, you're doing comedy, it's just funny and it's all fun and games, but it's not. Every time you go out on stage, you are making yourself vulnerable. And I just did an event where, I was in front of a lot of people that potentially, know my husband, my brother-in-law, my family. And, you can get in your head and be like, I don't want them to be embarrassed. Or like, if I bomb here, it's not like bombing in, Chicago where nobody knows me. And so I can get myself like wrapped up. And then I was challenged to write almost a whole 30-minute set for a separate event. And when I was done, I was like, man, I'm mentally exhausted. I need to breathe for a minute, but God's been good about, I have an event and then I'll have a couple of weeks off, and then I'll, have like 3 events in a row. Then I'll have a couple of weeks off. And I'm trying to break down and identify what is it that's stressing me out about this particular thing. And most of it, it's fear. Okay. Now what am I afraid of?
Yeah.
What part of that is a legit fear? And what part of that is I'm manufacturing failure before I even get into a space, So, I get like taking that break and not having that pressure on yourself, and then getting excited again about like, oh, I'm writing something funny and I'm getting to do this thing. Because I'm really good about putting the boxing gloves on and beating myself up. And even like a good set just feels like mediocre, and I want to do better all the time. And I take the fun out of it. I'll take it out on my own. So I'm glad that you've had that time, and then you'll just come out with more material. And spending time with your grandchild is just going to give you more material. But it's not just about that. It's about like, you got one life. You only have so much time with that little angel, right? Like love on her while you can, and establish that bond with that child. Now you can't go back. You can't go back to that. So that'll never be something you regret. It'll never be a regret that you took time off and spent time with your grandchild. But even in that, I feel like God blesses you with, here's some more funny stuff, because that child's going to start saying crazy things, and they do crazy things, and you do crazy things because you love them so much. So it's just more material in the future.
It definitely is. Now, like you just mentioned the fear, right? So one of the things that I did learn over the summer is, doing like a 7-step thing and asking yourself the next question. Why? Why do you have fear? And then you get to you're like, this is my aha moment. No, you didn't go deep enough. Now why? Like you just, it's like it's a 7 why layer kind of a thing. Like you just kept asking why to get down to the bottom of it and go, that's what it is. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you can rebuild from there, which is really cool. And yes, kids are fun, and they're a blank slate, and so, and they mimic everything you do, and it's so much fun, to watch her grow. It's so much fun. And then what's really exciting is having your children come over, and then they just start talking about the things of the Bible, or like so many conversations in this house have been about math. Math and science.
This is why I only visit one time.
Yeah.
I can't sit in a math house.
I'm just like,
I've been in a math house with my family, but I've never sat in a math house. What does it say about me that I would be less freaked out by the meth house than the math house? That's pretty bad.
Like math has been a big thing. And then, with my daughter-in-law now, music has, come into our life. And with the grandbaby, she loves music. So there's always everything's an instrument now, it's everything like that. But it's wonderful to be able to just have a normal conversation and someone go, what does this scripture mean? And it just out of the blue, like, but I can participate in this conversation. When it's about math, I'm like, I don't know. Music, I'm okay, but scripture, let's talk. So it's been fun revisiting with my family, and not regretting any moment. Like, I gotta go run out. Right. I got a show. Right. I can't stay with family night. Like that kind of thing. And we play games, and it's been so much fun. The summer's been a great thing. There was something I was going to say, and I totally forgot. And you know what?
Well, be careful, because Mia is going to definitely, she will do the things that you do, and she will say the things that you say. I will never forget when little baby Ty Colson, my mom would babysit him all the time, right? And one day I had him in the bicycle, like I was riding the bicycle and had the little kid seat behind me. He was about 2.5, 3 years old. And I'm riding my bike through the neighborhood with him beside me, and a car passes me, and he goes, 35, buddy. And then we get to the next stop sign, and I go through the stop sign, and he goes, there's a stop sign there. My mom would sit on the front porch and yell at cars all the time. There's a stop sign. 35, buddy. My 3-year-old in the seat behind me on the bicycle was yelling at traffic like his grandmother. So whatever you do, just know it can come back to you.
Okay. Mia and I use the treadmill every time she's over. Okay. Just going to put that out there. It's perfect, because I'll give her little bowl with her fruit in it, and she'll go sit on the treadmill. And that's because it's the perfect spot for her to just sit down and just start eating. So I'm like, I will join you. So we use the treadmill every time.
Nice. Yeah. I would just tell people I use the treadmill with my granddaughter every day. You don't have to say to sit down and eat. You can just say you use the treadmill. Okay. We can talk for hours. We have almost talked for an hour. So friends, I'll give you the tip of the week real quick, and then we'll wrap this thing up. So my tip of the week is, what did I tell you, Michelle? If at first you don't succeed. So this is actually a travel tip, not a comedy tip, but it's just a general travel tip. If at first you don't succeed, try another gate agent, and then try another, and then try another. Because I was in Sarasota, Florida. If you guys remember, by the time this airs, it'll be like probably a couple months back, when the computer system supposedly crashed or whatever. I'm not getting into conspiracy theories, but I was traveling with my husband and 2 clients. We got to the airport, flight delayed, flights being canceled, people trying to reroute. going to one gate agent and then like giving up. And I had a friend tell me before, like, don't stop at that first agent. Go to another one until you find somebody who will help you. And so what was going to happen, they were trying to reroute our clients to Atlanta. And if you saw any news about what happened in Atlanta, they would have made it there and they wouldn't have made it out to anywhere.
They would still be there today.
They would still be there today. So fortunately, we just didn't give up. We kept going to different gate agents. We found another flight that we could go out of instead of Sarasota, out of Tallahassee, that would be leaving at like 5 o'clock in the morning. And so we were going to jump first flight, not be pushed to the, end or whatever. End up having to drive to Tallahassee, stay in a hotel so that we could get up early the next morning. But and then rental car got canceled. Like, there was so much drama, but it was a matter of not just going, well, I guess we're stuck. And I know in Atlanta, you couldn't just keep going gate agent to gate agent. But in another scenario, a general situation where you're at the airport and something gets canceled, if you can't get help from somebody, don't give up. Keep trying. I've had friends who, because they did that, ended up getting to the gig that they were going to. And now, like, I've experienced that twice, where one agent was like, yeah, we're sorry, we can't do anything for you. And then we just worked our way around, found an amazing woman at American Airlines who ended up getting us booked, canceled our flights on the other flight that we were on, and it worked out. But on the other tip, I will say, if you are a Christian, don't forget that you're a Christian in those situations, because I saw some people really, really lose it on folks that had no control over the situation. They were thinking, oh, it's just us in this airport in this moment. And if you took the mile high look, excuse me, at the whole situation, we were better off than other people, because you could at least get out of that little airport and get a hotel room, get a car to get somewhere, where other people were not in that situation. And just trust in those situations that God is in control. If you are delayed for a reason. You may encounter somebody in those moments that you never would have met that could have a huge impact on their life, because you are calm, because they do see something different in you. So I say, don't give up. Keep trying. Trust that God's in the process, and then look around and see where he's working, and don't add to the problem, but be somebody who can calm down. That literally, there was a woman beside me trying to get to New York, and her whole group was just off their minds. Right. And she made a comment about me being calm. And I said, look, I'm just trusting he's going to take care of this. And I'm like, I'm trying not to forget whose child I am, because my Father's watching, and we'll just see what he does. And she was like, yeah, I should probably sit over here and think about that for a minute. Because she was going nuts on the whatever person. But anyway, that's my tip. Just keep trying. If you're traveling and they're like, nope, sorry, can't help you, keep trying. Don't give up with the first one. Now, if you're on like, gate agent 13, it's probably time to make
it might be you.
Plan. But I'm just saying, it's worked out well for me in the past, and friends of mine, to just keep trucking. Find somebody else who might give you a yes.
Yeah, that works with sales. That works with everything. If you ever go to a restaurant, or I want to speak to your manager. No. I want to speak to the person who can say yes to me right now.
Yes. Well, and you do get more bees with honey. I mean, I think the gate agent was kind to us because we were kind to her. We weren't like, we were like, we know you're in a tough position, and if there's anything you can do to help. And she did. Yeah. And made sure that I got my rewards points and all of that stuff.
Oh,
for fun. Yeah.
Now, okay. I think that person was an angel. I don't know if that was a real person that had to be an angel. You got your reward points too.
Could have been. But anyway, okay, so that's going to be it for this episode of the Life Support Podcast. Again, we are starting season number 5. We've chatted for a little while. We had a lot to catch up on, but friends, we've got amazing guests that are coming up this season. We know we've been blessed from season 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I feel like God's going to do the same for season 5. If you've got any questions for us, if you have any suggestions on somebody to be on our podcast, then definitely reach out to us. laughsup@gmail.com, the laughsup@gmail.com. And we would love to hear from you. Also, make sure that you follow us on Instagram and on YouTube at the Laugh Support Podcast. If you are listening, make sure you go watch the episode, like it, subscribe, follow. If you're watching us, you can listen to us too on the podcast. And we would love reviews, friends. We would love for you guys to give us a review on the podcast and encourage other people to listen to us too. You can find my friend Michele VanDusen. Make sure you're following her on all social media platforms. And MicheleVanDusen.org, at Michelle's Comedy on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And you can find me pretty much everywhere at Junebug Comedy. So junebugcomedy.com and Junebug Comedy on all social media platforms. So it's going to do it for this episode. Season 5, episode 1 is in the books. Hey, Michele, close this out, my friend.
I just want to say, you know what? Thanks for tuning in. And June, do you have any idea what you would call a yellow bug with lots of legs and
I thought we were leaving this in season 4, Michele. I didn't think I thought the joke was.
But this one was too good to pass up.
Set it up. What is it? A yellow bug with lots of legs
and a big mouth.
I already feel offended by this joke, but go ahead.
A caterpillar. That was from Haley from 3rd grade. So
caterpillar. Thank you, Haley. I can't be mad at a 3rd grade joke.
But doesn't that kind of remind you of Chatty Cathy?
A little bit.
Chatty Cathy. That would be you. So, all right. Thank you for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.
Jesus and Junebug loves you. Bye, y'all.
Bye.